So now we need to set the output so that the tape delay beat skit is affecting this low down dub channel. So right now it's, like I said, it's already set up, but I'm just gonna take this off and I'm gonna show you how to do this. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna click on here with your mouse on this arrow in the top right corner, and I'm gonna press Option, click, and choose Mixer, and then I'm going to go to the channel strip or the software instrument that has the tape delay plugin instantiated on it, and I'm going to choose that channel strip. So it's software instrument, low down dub, and that's it. So now you have it connected to an output. And one thing real quick, to use your MIDI controller, your external MIDI controller with this, if you go to environment, MIDI environment, and you open up the clicks and ports layer, you got to make sure that that is connected eventually to this sequencer input. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to use your MIDI controller. So for me, I have the Launch Key 61 MIDI, and I have it connected. Here's a screenshot from the old version of the tape delay plugin from Logic 10.0 or 10.1 and earlier. And here's the new version of Logic's tape delay, which is 10.2 and above, or maybe it's 10.3. So just make sure that in your version of Logic 10 that you have this tape delay and not this tape delay. If you have the older version, it won't work. So just want to let you know that. The biggest difference between the two is that in the past, in this old version, the way I would get triplet and dotted values is I'd have to make this groove slider move along with the different note changes, and I would do that in the environment by using transformers and whatnot. In the new version, it's nice that each note value, whether it's just a normal rhythmic value or a triplet or a dotted value, they each have their own spot along this dial. So that's kind of nice. And one of the other things is there's this thing called deviation, which the manual says deviates it from the grid by plus or minus. So that was kind of similar also to the groove slider by when you can change the percentage by plus or minus. One of the new features I have, which I'll talk about here later in the video, is that the modulation wheel controls this deviation. The plugin number here, you can click and drag up and down to change it, and it's set to second. So plugin number needs to be set to the correct plugin slot for tape delay in your channel strip. So as I said before, the beat skip is outputting or connected to low down dub, which is a software instrument that has Ultrabeat on it. Ultrabeat plugin would be plugin slot 1, and here you have tape delay as plugin 2. So it's set to second, so it's going to work. So it's a little bit different here on a software instrument as opposed to a audio track or a bus track, in which case your first plug-in slot, it will not be a software instrument. It's just going to be the first plug-in in your effects chain. So just make sure you know the difference between using it with a software instrument and using it with an audio track or a bus track. As before, what I need to do is I need to choose the octave, which I can click and drag up and down with my mouse, and I have it set to C2. So that's the range of keys on my MIDI controller that will do the beat skipping. So for my keyboard here, this is C1, and you can see C1 go here in the MIDI indicator. I'm using octave C2, so that's actually C2 through note B2. So that's this key all the way to this key. All right. Here you can also click and drag and move these up and down. And I have C2, note C2, and you can see it change over here in the plugin. C2, when I press that down, it will make a whole note beat skipping. Here to C sharp 2, it makes a half note. D2 will make a quarter note, and on up through the keyboard all the way to B2, which is a 16th note triplet. So the T is for triplet, the D is for dotted note. And when I'm setting this up, I just want to make sure that each one of these notes here is within the octave and they each have an individual note value. So let's try some real-time beat skipping with my MIDI controller. So I have this region here looped, and it's just going to play the basic drum beat unaltered. And now I'm going to add some beat skipping to it. So let's try a D sharp 2. D sharp 2 is 8th note. As you can see, I have it set here. Let's try a quarter note, a dotted quarter note. So that's going to be G2 when I hit that. And let's try B2, which is the 16th note triplet. This second region here shows that I can, in a sense, beat skip the beat skipping. So by doing some quicker skips, you can see here some quicker rhythmic skipping in the beginning, and then I press here, which is the which is C2, which is a full whole note's worth of skipping. It is, in a sense, going to skip everything that's within that last measure that was played. So I'm just going to play this, and then you're going to hear what I mean. Okay, so hopefully that made sense to you. One of the new features I've added is the use of the modulation wheel, or MIDI CC number 1, continuous controller number 1, to change or affect the deviation of the plugin, and it gives some kind of glitching or pitching type effect. So here's the deviation, and when I move the modulation wheel, you can see that it changes here, but more importantly, it's also connected to this here in the plugin. Here's an example of beat skipping in real time while using the modulation wheel to affect the deviation. So this would be maybe more usable in a glitchy type setting. It's definitely going to take the rhythm sort of outside the box and make it a little more chaotic sounding, but you might be able to find some cool effects with it. Another feature of tape delay beat skip is that different note velocity levels will change the smoothing parameter in the plugin. So a quieter MIDI note velocity will give a lower smoothing, and a higher velocity will make the smoothing go higher. And this works best when you go from a lower or quieter note to a higher note in succession. So I'm going to play this so you know what I mean. Well, hey guys, thanks for watching Music Machine Lab. My name is Jeff Culp. Down below in the YouTube info box, you'll find information on how to purchase this, the tape delay beat skip environment device. I also have for sale the FX Glitcher. And just remember, these work on only Logic 10.3, the newest version. So make sure you have that before you get it. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.